In the bustling town of Oruama, where market women sang louder than the roosters and gossip traveled faster than the wind, lived a young maid named Nkemdili. Her name meant "let my destiny be good," but her life seemed to mock that very prayer. She worked in the grand compound of Chief Odion, a man whose wealth could fill 10 barns and whose pride could drown 10 villages. He was respected in public but feared in private, a man who measured worth by gold and power, not by compassion. Nkemdili had served his family since she was 13, scrubbing floors until her palms cracked, pounding yam until her arms trembled, and serving meals she could never taste. Yet, she did her work with quiet grace, never once complaining. Her beauty was the kind that didn't shout, it whispered. A calm face, eyes deep as evening rivers, and a smile that could warm even the coldest morning. But what truly made her beloved among the townsfolk was her kindness, the kind that made strangers smile and softened even angry hearts. Every dawn, before the cock crowed, she would whisper a short prayer. "May my hands never tire of doing good, even if good forgets me."
Still, in Chief Ojin's household, kindness was treated like weakness. His daughters, Oruama and Chika, were spoilt to the bone. They mocked her patched clothes and coarse hands, calling her the dust beneath our feet. When guests visited, they would parade before them in gold-threaded wrappers, while Nkemdili carried trays on her head, eyes lowered, pretending not to hear their laughter. But even as she endured humiliation, her heart remained soft. When the younger servants gossiped about running away, she would shake her head gently and say, "A river does not forget its path to the sea. Our journeys may twist, but destiny always finds its way." It was on one such morning that fate began to stir. The market was alive with its usual music, the clang of traders' bells, the scent of roasted corn and palm oil, the hum of bargaining voices. But at the edge of the road leading to Chief Ojin's gate stood a beggar, his face shadowed beneath a dusty hood. His walking stick was worn smooth by time, his robe torn and frayed. He looked weak, yet there was something about him, an air of quiet dignity that didn't match his rags. He called himself Obinna. As he approached the chief's compound, the guards sneered. "Old man, go beg elsewhere. This is not a place for rats like you." Obinna bowed his head. "I ask not for gold," he said softly, "only for a drop of water to cool a weary tongue." The guards laughed and kicked the ground near him, sending dust into his face. He stumbled back, coughing. From the kitchen, Nkemdili watched. Her heart clenched. She knew what it felt like to be treated as less than human. She quickly poured some water into a clay cup and wrapped a piece of leftover bread in a cloth. Sneaking past the guards, she approached the beggar. "Please, take this," she said gently. "Eat, and may it give you strength." Obinna looked up at her, surprise flickering in his eyes. For a long moment, he said nothing, only studied her face as if trying to remember it. Then, with a faint smile, he whispered, "May the heavens remember your kindness when the world forgets you." Nkemdili smiled shyly and turned back toward the kitchen, but fate was already watching. From the upper balcony, Oruama, the chief's eldest daughter, had seen everything. Her lips curled into a wicked smile. She rushed to her father's room, her voice full of false concern. "Father, that maid, Nkemdili, she fed a filthy beggar from our food. She is shaming our household." Chief Ojin's eyes darkened. "A beggar," he barked. "In my compound." When Nkemdili was summoned, she came trembling but unbowed. The great man sat upon his carved chair, his daughters standing beside him like twin shadows. "Who gave you the right," he thundered, "to feed a beggar with my food?" Nkemdili knelt, her voice barely above a whisper. "No one, my lord. But he was hungry, and I thought." "You thought?" Chief Ojin interrupted. "You, a maid, dared to think." The hall fell silent. Outside, even the crickets seemed to pause. "I only did what my heart thought right," she said quietly. Chief Ojin's lips curved into a cruel smile. "Then let your heart pay for it." He rose to his feet. "From this day, you shall be his wife, the wife of a beggar." Gasps rippled through the household. Oruama smirked with delight. Nkemdili's heart stopped. "My lord, please. I beg you," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Do not cast me away for doing good." But her tears only seemed to please him more. Perhaps then you will learn your place, he said coldly. A maid who serves a beggar deserves no better. And with a wave of his hand, her fate was sealed. By nightfall, the once busy compound grew still. Nkemdili stood at the gate with a small bundle of clothes, everything she owned wrapped in one piece of cloth. The moon hung pale and watchful above. And there, waiting for her beyond the gate, was the beggar, Obinna, his eyes full of sorrow, yet somehow peaceful. I did not mean for this to happen, she said through tears. He looked at her gently. Neither did I. But sometimes the gods choose strange roads to lead us home. Without another word, they walked together into the night, the maid cast out, the beggar beside her, and destiny quietly unfolding beneath the silent moon. The night wind of Oruama carried the smell of dust and silence as Nkemdili and Obinna walked away from Chief Ojin's compound. The stars shimmered faintly above, watching their slow journey like silent witnesses of fate. Nkemdili clutched her small bundle of clothes close to her chest. Every step felt heavier than the last, not from the weight of her things, but from the sting of humiliation. The laughter of the chief's daughters still echoed in her ears. But Obinna walked quietly beside her, his limp steady, his stick tapping the ground with a calm rhythm. When they reached the edge of the town, where the farmlands stretched toward the dark forest, he stopped. There, he said softly, pointing to a small hut made of mud and palm leaves. It is not much, but it shelters me from rain and sun. Nkemdili looked around. The roof sagged, the floor was cracked, and the air smelled of loneliness. Yet, she only nodded. If this is to be my home, she said quietly, then I will make it a place of peace. That night, under the flickering light of an oil lamp, she swept the dusty floor, patched the holes with clay, and spread her wrapper on the cold ground. Obinna watched her silently, his eyes full of something unreadable, part sorrow, part wonder. Rest, Nkemdili, he said gently. You have done enough. But she shook her head. A home must breathe before one can rest in it. In the following days, the rhythm of their new life began. Every morning, Nkemdili fetched water from the stream, her bare feet cold against the dew. She cooked with whatever they could gather, yam peels, wild leaves, or ground nuts bought from the market. Obinna, despite his ragged state, never begged from others. He spent his days carving small wooden toys, tiny horses, birds, and drums, which he sold to children for a few coins. At first, Nkemdili thought him strange. He spoke little, and when he did, his words carried a weight beyond their sound. Yet there was kindness in every gesture, the way he shielded her from the sun, or how he always left the bigger share of food for her. One afternoon, as they sat by the stream washing clothes, Nkemdili said softly, You speak like a man who once knew comfort. Obinna smiled faintly. Comfort teaches nothing, he said. But loss sharpens the soul. She looked at him curiously. Then you have known loss. He paused. More than you can imagine. There was a silence between them, the kind that carried stories unsaid. Then, he added, Once, I had all that a man could desire, land, gold, power, respect. But I was proud, blind, and deaf to the cries of those beneath me. I thought the poor were lazy, and the hungry deserved their hunger. And so, when the gods stripped me of everything, I learned what it means to be human again. Nkemdili's eyes softened. Then perhaps your suffering was not a curse, but a gift. Obinna looked at her then, really looked at her. The firelight danced in her eyes, and for the first time in years, something in his heart began to stir, a fragile, trembling warmth. From that day, their bond grew quietly. They spoke little, but their silences were filled with understanding. Nkemdili learned to laugh again, though softly, like a melody she was rediscovering. And Obinna began to smile, not the smile of a beggar, but of a man awakening to hope. But at night, when Nkemdili slept, Obinna would sit outside the hut, staring into the darkness as if searching for ghosts. From beneath his tattered shirt, he would draw out a golden medallion, faintly glowing under the moonlight. It bore the royal crest of Ami's kingdom, 2 lions guarding a crown. His thumb brushed over it gently as he whispered to the night, Father, I have found her, the heart the oracle spoke of. The one pure enough to end my shame. He remembered the prophecy that haunted him. When a king's son forgets the worth of mercy, the crown will fall. Only the hand of a humble heart can raise it again. He had thought the words foolish then. But now, looking at Nkemdili sleeping peacefully beside the dying fire, he felt their truth burning deep within him. The next morning, Nkemdili awoke to find Obinna staring at the sunrise. "Why do you rise before dawn?" she asked. "Because dawn reminds me that darkness never wins forever," he said with a gentle smile. Her heart fluttered. No man had ever spoken to her with such quiet wisdom. Not even in Chief Ojin's grand house, where voices were loud but hearts were hollow. One afternoon, as they sold toys in the market, a group of children ran toward them laughing. "Mama says your toys bring good luck," one of them cried. Obinna chuckled, handing a little girl a carved dove. "Then may peace follow you home." As the sun sank behind the hills, Nkemdili watched him help an old woman lift her basket. She thought to herself, "This man may wear rags, but his soul wears a crown." That night, a storm broke. Thunder rolled through the forest, and the roof of the hut shuddered under heavy rain. Nkemdili ran to close the cracks, but Obinna caught her hand gently. "Let it rain," he said softly. "Some storms come to wash away what we no longer need." And as lightning lit up the sky, the gold of the medallion beneath his rags gleamed faintly, unseen by Nkemdili, but seen by the gods. For her kindness had unknowingly begun to break a royal curse. Unaware of the secret beside her, Nkemdili slept that night with a heart full of strange peace, dreaming of water, clear and endless, washing away her pain. And somewhere beyond the thunder, destiny smiled. The morning after the storm broke clear and golden. The air smelled of wet earth and new beginnings. Nkemdili stepped outside their little hut, the hem of her wrapper brushing against the grass still heavy with dew. Birds sang in the trees, and for the first time since her banishment, she felt peace bloom quietly in her chest. Obinna was already awake, carving something small and delicate from wood. His movements were calm, precise, each stroke filled with purpose. "What are you making today?" she asked, kneeling beside him. He smiled faintly. "A crown," he said. "But a humble one, made not for kings, but for hearts that know mercy." Nkemdili laughed softly. "Then the world will have too few to wear it." They shared a quiet moment, the kind that speaks without words. But that peace would not last long. By noon, the distant roll of royal drums echoed through Oruama. Dum, dum, dum. The sound grew louder, shaking the ground as horses thundered past the market. Townspeople poured into the streets, whispering in excitement and fear. "The royal guard," someone shouted. "They are searching for the lost prince of Amis." Nkemdili's heart skipped. "Lost prince," she murmured. A trader replied breathlessly, 10 years ago, Prince Obinna, the king's only son, vanished from the palace after being cursed by the gods. They say he would wander as a beggar until a woman of pure heart showed him love without knowing his name or crown. The words struck her like lightning. "Obinna," she thought. Could it be? She turned toward their hut, but Obinna was gone. Panic surged through her. She ran along the path, calling his name, her voice trembling. "Obinna, where are you?" When she reached the market square, she froze. A crowd had gathered, kneeling before a group of horsemen dressed in red and gold, the colors of Amis. And in their center stood Obinna, no longer in rags, but in robes of deep crimson trimmed with gold. His face, though calm, carried the weight of sorrow and redemption. The people gasped, whispering in awe. "It's him, the prince has returned." Chief Ojin, who had come to see the commotion, stumbled forward in disbelief. "Impossible," he cried. "That beggar, that filthy wretch cannot be a prince." But one of the royal guards stepped forward and bowed deeply. "Make way for His Royal Highness, Prince Obinna of Amis, heir to the throne and son of King Ojayaka." The crowd erupted in shouts of joy and astonishment. Children danced. Drummers struck their skins harder, turning the air into thunder. Nkemdili stood at the edge of it all, her heart pounding. She wanted to run to him, but her feet would not move. How could this be real? The man she was forced to marry, the man she shared yam peels and laughter with, was royalty. Obinna's eyes searched the crowd and then found her. For a heartbeat, the noise faded. The prince and the maid looked at each other across the sea of faces, bound by something stronger than fate. He raised his hand, and the drums stopped. Silence fell like a veil. Obina's voice carried across the square, steady, clear, and royal. That evening, the palace of Amise blazed with celebration. Lanterns shimmered like fireflies, drums beat like thunder, and songs of joy filled the air. Nkemdili, now robed in silk, sat beside Obina beneath a canopy of palm fronds and gold. The royal priest lifted his staff and proclaimed, "The curse is broken. The heart of mercy has restored the throne." When the chants faded, Obina leaned close and whispered, "Once, I begged for mercy. Now I am rich, not with gold, but with the woman who saw the man beneath the dust." Tears glimmered in Nkemdili's eyes. "And I," she whispered back, "have found a love that even shame could not bury." Outside, fireworks of palm sparks lit the sky. The people of Oruama sang her name. Nkemdili, Nkemdili, the maid who became queen, and in that golden glow, as drums echoed through the night, she smiled. For she had learned that true royalty is not in crowns or titles, but in a heart that chooses kindness when the world offers cruelty. Sparkle's moral: kindness, even when mocked, plants the seed of destiny. For what is done in love always finds its way back in glory.
And don't forget to subscribe to Folktale by T Vibes.